Now we're going to take a look at examples 2 and 3, just a little bit more practice with these same things. At this point, you might want to pause because I wrote in some things for example 2. These are the things we're going to record. Looking at example 2, we're not going to go through every single one because not all of them always make sense. Those vocabulary terms don't all make sense for every problem. So once you've paused and written those down, then we'll start talking about the average rate of change. From x equals 0 to x equals 3. So if we want x equals 0 to x equals 3, we want these 2 points. So our points are 0, 0, and 3, 6. So to find the average rate of change, we use that slope formula, 6 minus 0 over 3 minus 0, which is 6 over 3, or 2. So the average rate of change from 0 to 3 is 2. Positive values, well, we look at our y values or our f of x values. Notice here, they're all positive. So on the whole domain of the function, our values are positive. So what we would say for that, because all of those are positive, everywhere from 0 to 5 for our x values, that's the domain, we get positive y values. We won't talk about negative values. They don't make sense in this problem. The maximum, so we look at all those positive values and we look for the biggest ones. So we see those right here. So we actually have 2 maxima in this problem at 2, 6 and 3, 6. And often people say maximums, maxima, you know, not quite the same. Don't test me on that later, but you know. Increasing interval, so increasing is where they're getting bigger. So in this we don't have a graph to look at, but we can just look at what the values are doing. So 0 to 4 is getting bigger, so that's increasing here. 4 to 6 is still getting bigger. 6 to 6 is not getting bigger anymore, so that's where it stops. So the increasing interval are those x values between 0 and 6 for the y's. So the increasing interval is when x is from 0 to 2. Decreasing interval, again, then we can start at this 6. We notice it's going down to 4 and then down to 0. So it's decreasing when x is between 3 and 5. So those are our increasing and decreasing intervals. Now for example 3, we have to do a little bit of work first. We have to take the story and turn it into a graph. So a grocery store stocks shelves with 100 cartons of strawberries before the store opens. For the first 3 hours, the store sells 20 cartons per hour. Over the next 2 hours, no cartons are sold. The store then restocks 10 cartons each hour for the next 2 hours and doesn't sell any cartons. In the final hour the store is open, 30 cartons are sold. So the first thing we can do here is we can go ahead and think about what that graph's going to look like. So before they open, so when they've been open for, this is our hours, this is our number of cartons. So at 0 hours we have 100 cartons. For 3 hours they sell 20 each. Well, that's convenient because the graph has a scale of 20. So the first hour, the second hour, the third hour. Over the next 2 hours, no cartons of strawberries are sold. So there, oh, let me go ahead and connect those. The store then restocks 10 each hour for the next 2 hours. So by hour 6, they'd go from 40 up to 50, and by hour 7, they'd go up to 60. So right like that. And then in the final hour, 30 cartons are sold. So if 30 cartons are sold in the final hour, they go from 60. 60 minus 30 is 30, which will be here between 20 and 40. So I put a point right there, and it looks like that. So in this, you can kind of see it wouldn't be interesting to talk about positive and negative values really, because you can't have negative cartons of strawberries. There are a few things we can talk about. We could talk about the average rate of change. And let's go ahead and look at the average rate of change over the whole day. From x equals 0 to x equals 8. We could look at what the maximum number of cartons they had was, or the maximums. There's actually 2 in this problem. And we can look at the intervals where it's increasing and the intervals where it's decreasing. Those are really going to be the interesting parts of this graph. And what I'm going to ask you to do now is to take a few minutes, stop the video, and try to figure out these 4 things. Next time when you come back to class, we'll start by talking about these together, and that'll help me see how much you're understanding. You'll get a chance to check your answer for that. So when I check your notes next time, I'll expect not only these things written down, but then some cool math underneath. Yay! Thank you. Have a great day.